The words echoed in his ears like an unexpected thunderclap. John stared at her, unable to move, unable to think. She was small compared to the other towering aliens around them, her silver eyes bright and her smile warm. She looked so sure, so certain. And yet John's heart felt heavy, not from excitement but from something else entirely, because deep inside he still carried the weight of someone who had once been close to him, someone who had moved far away. That memory came rushing back now, uninvited. A girl he had grown up with, his closest friend, had once been by his side every day. They had shared laughter, secrets, and dreams of the future. But one day, she had left. Her family had moved to another city, and just like that, the bond between them was stretched thin by distance. John had promised he would stay in touch, but life had gotten louder, busier. Slowly, their conversations became shorter. Then silence. He had never truly let go of that loss. It was the first time he had learned what it felt like to be close to someone, only to feel distant when they were gone. And now, here stood this alien girl, claiming to be his wife. The universe had a cruel sense of humor, he thought. John blinked and shook his head. There must be some mistake, he muttered. I don't even know you. The alien tilted her head curiously. Her smile didn't fade. In my world, knowing is only the beginning. Our system chooses hearts that belong together. The bond will grow, even if the roots are not yet deep. Her words were gentle, but they tightened the ache in John's chest. He remembered how he had once wanted to reach out to his old friend, how many times he had stared at his phone wanting to type a message but not knowing what to say. That distance had taught him one painful truth. Wanting to reconnect was not the same as being able to. And here, before him, was someone asking him to connect, to bridge that distance instantly. The crowd around them whispered, their voices rising like the buzz of bees. A rare match, one alien said. He should feel honored. John felt anything but honored. He felt lost. Yet when he looked at her again, he saw something in her eyes, something more than tradition or duty. She wasn't forcing him. She was hopeful. That hope struck something inside him. It reminded him of the time his friend had smiled on the day she moved away, telling him, "We'll meet again. Don't forget me." He had forgotten, or at least failed to hold on. And that failure haunted him still. Maybe this was different. Maybe he could learn from that mistake. Still, John's voice was heavy as he said, "Humans don't work like this. We don't just accept something like marriage because someone says so. Back on Earth, we choose. We spend time together. We struggle. We hope. We don't just take it as fact." The petite alien listened quietly, her silver eyes never leaving his. When he finished, she folded her hands in front of her and nodded. "Then let us start the way you wish," she said softly. "I will not ask you to accept me today, only that you do not walk away." Her words caught him off guard. For the first time since her announcement, his chest felt a little lighter. Maybe, he thought, this didn't have to be about forced destiny. Maybe it could be about trying, step by step, to see if a bridge could be built. The alien extended her hand. It was small, delicate, but steady. "In my culture, a hand offered means a journey begun. Will you take it?" John stared at her hand. He remembered the hand of his old friend waving goodbye as she disappeared into the distance. He remembered how powerless he had felt to keep that bond alive. But this time he had a choice. He could take the hand in front of him and see where it led instead of letting distance define him again. Slowly, hesitantly, John reached out. His fingers brushed hers, and for a moment he felt warmth spread through him. Not just physical, but something deeper. The whispers around them grew louder, but he didn't care anymore. For the first time since the announcement, he allowed himself a small smile. They walked together after that, the crowd parting to let them through. John didn't say much. He didn't know what to say. But the alien filled the silence with light stories of her people, her home, her traditions. She spoke as if she had waited all her life for this moment, and as he listened, John realized something important. She wasn't trying to erase who he was. She wasn't trying to make him forget the bonds he had lost. She was asking him to create something new. That thought sparked something inside him. Something very human. Hope. The kind of hope that says, even if I lost someone once, I can try again. Even if distance hurt me before, maybe this time I can reach across it. When they finally stopped, the alien looked up at him, her silver eyes glowing softly in the starlight. I know this feels strange, she whispered, but sometimes the greatest journeys begin with a single step, and I am glad that step is with you. John didn't know what tomorrow would bring. He didn't know if he was ready. But for the first time in years, he felt like he was moving forward instead of standing still. And as he looked at her, he thought of the words that had started it. All words that no longer felt as heavy as they had before. You've been matched with a wife, and that's me, the petite alien announced with a smile. The room the aliens had given him was quiet, filled with soft blue lights that pulsed like a heartbeat, but his own heart was restless. He kept thinking about her, the petite alien who had smiled at him so warmly as if their meeting was destiny. Her words still echoed. I will not ask you to accept me today, only that you do not walk away. She was patient, gentle, willing to wait. And yet John felt the same ache he had carried for years, the ache of distance. He remembered his childhood friend again, the way she had moved away so suddenly, the way he had promised to stay close only to fail. That distance had cut deep, leaving him with regret. Even now, when he thought about reaching out to her, he froze. What if she had forgotten him? What if he was no longer important? That fear of rejection kept him silent. And now, here he was in a strange world, facing the same question again. Should he reach out? Should he try? The next morning, a soft knock came at his door. May I come in? It was her voice, calm, musical. John hesitated before opening the door. She stood there holding something that looked like a small basket of glowing fruit. Her smile was the same as yesterday, bright and full of hope. I brought breakfast, she said. He managed a weak smile. Thanks, you didn't have to. It's not a duty, she replied. It's a way to begin. They sat together, and for a while, silence filled the space. She watched him curiously as he tasted the strange fruit. It was sweet, with a flavor like honey and apples mixed. Do humans eat with family? She asked softly. John nodded. Yes, eating together makes us feel close. It's not just about food. It's about connection. Her eyes brightened. Then I am glad we are doing this. The simplicity of her answer tugged at something inside him. She wasn't forcing closeness. She was simply offering it. But John's thoughts turned heavy again. What if this ends the same way? What if I let myself grow close only to lose it? He pushed the basket away, his appetite gone. She tilted her head, her smile fading just a little. Your heart feels far, she whispered, like it is reaching for someone who is not here. John froze. How could she know? He swallowed hard. There was someone, back on Earth, a friend. She moved away, and I never really found the words to keep our bond alive. I think about her sometimes, but I don't know how to reach out. I'm afraid it's too late. The alien listened quietly, her silver eyes full of understanding. She didn't laugh at him. She didn't tell him to forget. Instead, she said something that surprised him. In my culture, distance does not end a bond. It only tests it. The thread stretches, but it does not break unless one chooses to cut it. Her words struck him deeply. Humans thought of distance as loss, but maybe it didn't have to be. That evening, she led him through the alien city. The streets glowed with strange lights, and creatures of all shapes and sizes moved about. Yet John felt strangely at ease walking beside her. As they crossed a bridge that arched over a river of glowing water, she spoke again. You fear losing people, But is not the greater loss never trying at all? John stopped walking. Her words felt like a blade cutting through his excuses. She was right. With his old friend, he had chosen silence out of fear. And that silence had been more painful than rejection would have been. Maybe with this alien he could choose differently. They sat on the edge of the bridge, their legs dangling. John stared at the glowing water, trying to find courage. You believe in this yacht match, he said quietly. She nodded. Yes. My people trust in bonds. They are not accidents, they are gifts. But what if I can't feel it? What if I fail again? His voice cracked, heavy with old wounds. She reached out, placing her small hand over his. Then fail trying. That is what makes humans strong. You walk forward even when the path is unclear. That is why your kind reaches stars. HFY. Humans are special because they keep trying. Her words gave him something he hadn't felt in years. Permission to try, even if he stumbled. That night, back in his room, John stared at the small device the aliens had given him to connect with Earth. He hadn't used it much. His finger hovered over the controls. For a long time he hesitated. His old friend's face appeared in his mind. Her laugh, her wave goodbye. The fear of rejection was still there, but so was the memory of what the alien girl had said. The greater loss is never trying at all. His hand trembled as he sent a short message across the stars. Just a few words. Hey, I know it's been a long time. I don't want distance to be the end of us. Do you remember me? He sat back, his heart racing. For the first time in years, he had reached out. The next morning, the petite alien was waiting for him again, her smile brighter than ever. Did you try? She asked. John nodded slowly. Yes, I sent a message. I don't know what will happen, but I tried. Her silver eyes glowed with pride. Then you honor both your past and your future. That is very human. For the first time, John smiled without hesitation. The ache of distance was still there, but now it was mixed with hope. He didn't know if his old friend would answer. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing. He was done letting fear keep him silent, and sitting beside this petite alien who believed in him, he realized he had taken the first step toward reconnecting, not just with others, but with himself. The morning was bright, though the alien city's sky looked different from Earth's. It shimmered with soft hues of violet and gold, like a painting stretched across the heavens. John stood at the balcony of his room, staring out at it, but his thoughts were far away. Wondered if his old friend had received the message he sent. Did she read it? Did she smile? Or did she ignore it completely, thinking he was just a stranger from her past? The silence of waiting was heavy, almost unbearable. He sighed, gripping the balcony rail. It hurt to care about someone who might never respond. A gentle voice broke his thoughts. You are thinking of her again. John turned. The petite alien stood there, her silver eyes calm, her small hands folded in front of her. She wasn't accusing, only observing. I can't help it, John admitted. She was once the closest person to me, and when she moved away, it felt like losing part of myself. Now I don't even know if she wants to hear from me again. The alien tilted her head, studying him. In your world, do people stop caring so easily when distance grows? John shook his head. No, we care. Sometimes too much. But we don't always know how to show it. And when silence stretches, it becomes harder to bridge. Her lips curved into a thoughtful smile. Strange. For my people, silence is not feared. We believe bonds are not measured by constant words, but by the strength of the heart that remembers. John blinked at her. For humans, silence feels like abandonment, like being forgotten. Then, she said softly, you must teach me why, and I will teach you why we do not fear it. Together we can learn. Later that day, they walked through the alien marketplace. Stalls glittered with strange fabrics, glowing crystals, and fruits that pulsed with faint light. Yet, John's heart wasn't fully in it. He kept thinking about the unanswered message. The alien noticed his silence. "You hope for her answer," she said gently. "Yes," John admitted. "But hope feels fragile. What if it breaks?" Her silver eyes brightened. "Hope does not break, John. Hope is the fire that survives storms. Even if the answer is not what you wish, the hope itself proves you are alive. That is, human." Her words made him pause. That is human. He had always thought of hope as weakness, a thing that led to disappointment. But she spoke of it as strength, the very thing that made humans unique. And maybe she was right. They stopped at a stall where an old alien craftsman displayed carved stones. The alien girl picked one up and held it out to John. It was shaped like two circles overlapping, connected in the center. "In my culture," she explained, "this is a bond stone. It means two lives touch, even when apart. The circles can drift, but the center remains joined." John ran his fingers over the carving. The design reminded him of his old friend, even if they were apart. Even if they hadn't spoken in years, the memory of what they shared was still there. The bond hadn't fully broken. It was just waiting for him to reach across. He bought the stone, slipping it into his pocket. It felt like carrying both the past and the present with him. That night, back in his room, John stared at the communication device again. Still no reply. His chest ached with the familiar pain of waiting, but now he held the bondstone in his hand. Its smooth surface reminded him of the alien girl's words. The greater loss is never trying at all. So he sent another message. Just one line. "I don't know if you remember me the way I remember you, but I want to try again. Even if it's only as friends." He closed his eyes after sending it. This time, instead of fear, he felt a strange calm. The next morning, he walked with the petite alien again. She noticed the stone in his hand and smiled. "You carry it," she said. "Yes," John replied. "It helps me remember that distance isn't always the end. Sometimes it's just a test." Her silver eyes glowed with quiet pride. "That is a very human way to see it. You feel the pain, but you keep moving forward. That is why I believe in this match." John looked at her, really looked this time. She wasn't just a stranger forcing her way into his life. She was someone offering him a chance to heal, to reconnect, not only with her but with the parts of himself he had lost. They reached the city's central square, where a large fountain glowed with streams of blue light. People, human and alien alike, gathered there, laughing, talking, trading stories. John watched them and felt something stir inside him. He realized that this was what humans did best. They reached out. Even across species, even across galaxies, humans tried to connect. And maybe that was why the aliens respected them. Because no matter how many times distance or silence tried to break bonds, humans always found a way to try again. That night, as John prepared to sleep, his device chimed softly. His heart skipped a beat. He picked it up, hands trembling. It was a message. From her. "John, of course I remember you. I thought you had forgotten me. I'm glad you reached out." Tears pricked his eyes. After all these years, after all the silence, the bond had not been lost. He sank onto his bed, clutching the bondstone in one hand, the device in the other. For the first time, the ache of distance didn't feel so heavy. He whispered into the quiet room, almost to himself, "Maybe hope doesn't break after all." And as he drifted to sleep, the image of the petite alien's smile filled his mind, alongside the words of his old friend's message. Two bonds, two chances, two threads, pulling him forward. For the first time in years, John felt like distance was not his enemy. It was simply the space he had to cross, and he was ready to try. The message replayed in John's mind again and again. "John, of course I remember you. I thought you had forgotten me. I'm glad you reached out. Just a few words, but they carried the weight of years. He read them over until the letters blurred. She hadn't forgotten him. She still remembered. The bond wasn't lost after all. For the first time in so long, John felt lightness in his chest. But mixed with it was fear. What now? What should he say? Should he write a long message or something simple? Should he tell her how much he regretted the silence? His fingers hovered over the device, but no words came. He wanted to reconnect, but he didn't know how. The next morning, the petite alien met him outside his quarters. As always, she smiled brightly, her silver eyes glowing like polished moons. But today, John's mind was elsewhere. "You seem far away," she said softly. John hesitated, then told her the truth. She replied, "My old friend. She still remembers me." The alien's face lit with joy. "That is wonderful." "Yes, but—" John sighed. "I don't know what to say now. I don't want to ruin it. What if I push too hard? What if I don't say enough?" The alien tilted her head. "Your people fear words as much as silence, don't they?" John gave a short laugh. "Yeah, I guess we do." They walked together into the city's central square. Today it was crowded, filled with merchants, travelers, and families. The petite alien guided him through the throng with ease, waving at people who congratulated them on their match. John felt the eyes on him, the whispers, the smiles, the expectations. Everyone seemed to think he and the petite alien were already joined. It made him uneasy. Back home, marriage was a choice. Here it was a decree. And yet, when he looked at her, he saw no chains. She wasn't forcing him. She was simply there, patient, hopeful, and steady. At the fountain in the square, John sat down heavily. The alien girl joined him, her hands folded, neatly in her lap. "Do you want advice?" she asked. John nodded. "Then speak to her as if no time has passed," she said. "Do not carry the weight of silence in every word. Instead, carry the bond. Speak simply. Speak honestly. That is, enough." John turned that over in his mind. Maybe she was right. Maybe he didn't need to explain all the years. Maybe he could just start fresh. But even as he thought about it, doubt gnawed at him. "Humans," he said slowly. "We care about the past. We feel guilty when we fail someone. It's not easy to pretend those years of silence didn't matter." The alien studied him for a moment, then touched the bond stone hanging from his neck. "Guilt is heavy," she said gently. "But hope is light. You can choose which one you carry forward." That night, John finally typed a reply. "I thought I lost. You? I didn't know how to reach out after so long. But I don't want to lose this chance again. How have you been?" He sent it before fear could stop him. Afterward, he sat with the petite alien, telling her what he had written. She nodded approvingly. "That is human courage," she said. "Not the courage of battles or weapons, but of hearts. You face the pain instead of hiding." John looked at her, surprised. No one had ever called his stumbling words courage before, but maybe in their own way they were. Days passed. He continued to wait for his friend's reply. In the meantime, he spent more time with the alien girl. They visited gardens where glowing plants opened like lanterns at night. She laughed when he tried their strange food and made a face at the sour taste. She asked endless questions about Earth, its oceans, its forests, its traditions, and, slowly, John found himself opening up. He told her about his childhood, about his old friend, about his fear of being forgotten. She listened, always patient, always kind. And in her listening, he felt something stir inside him. One evening they stood together on the balcony overlooking the city. Stars sparkled above, brighter than he had ever seen on Earth. "Do you miss your home?" she asked softly. "Every day," John admitted. "But I think what I really miss is the people, the ones who made it feel like home." She nodded. "Then you must remember, wherever people carry you in their hearts, that is also home." John thought of his old friend, and he thought of this petite alien standing beside him with quiet faith. Maybe she was right. Maybe home wasn't just a place. Maybe it was the connections you refused to let go of. The next morning, his device chimed again. Another message. His hands shook as he opened it. I'm glad you reached out, John. I missed our talks. I'd love to hear about your life now. Tell me everything. Tears filled his eyes. She hadn't just remembered him. She wanted to reconnect. She wanted to know him again. He sat down quickly, clutching the device, trying to steady his hands. The petite alien walked in then, and when she saw his face, she smiled. She answered again? John nodded. Yes, she wants to know everything. She missed me too. The alien girl's smile widened, and she placed a gentle hand over his. Then distance has lost its battle. You have won, John. That is the power of your kind. That night, as he wrote back, John realized something. For years, he had let fear stop him from reaching out. He had let silence convince him that bonds were broken. But now, with the help of a friend who believed in hope, he had taken the step forward, and the bond was still alive. Maybe humans weren't the strongest or the fastest or the most advanced, but they carried something powerful, hope that refused to die, even when years and distance tried to bury it, and that hope made him human. That hope made him strong. John sat at the edge of the glowing river in the alien city, the water reflecting shimmering colors like moving stars. He held the bond stone in one hand and his device in the other. Messages from his old friend sat unread on the screen, waiting for him to respond. His chest felt heavy with a strange mix of excitement and guilt. He had connected with her again. After all these years, she wanted to know him. But he couldn't ignore the presence of the petite alien beside him. She had been patient, kind, and had offered a new connection that felt real, warm, and alive. And now John had to figure out how to navigate both. The petite alien tilted her head, noticing his furrowed brow. You seem troubled, John. He exhaled, deeply. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. I finally reached out to someone I cared about back on Earth, and now she's replying. And yet, I care about you too. I don't want to hurt either of you, and I don't know what to do first. Her silver eyes softened. Then start slowly, step by step. That is what humans do, yes? John nodded. Humans did take things slowly. They were persistent, careful, but brave enough to try even when it was hard. Maybe this was another test, not a test of love, but of courage, patience, and hope. He began writing to his old friend, choosing his words carefully. He spoke honestly about the years lost, the regret he felt, and the joy he felt in hearing from her again. He kept it simple, letting his heart guide the words. Once the message was sent, he set the device down and looked at the petite alien. She was smiling, waiting patiently, as if she already understood that life was rarely simple. You see, she said softly, you honor both the past and the present. That is human strength. You feel deeply, yet you still act. John felt a warmth rise in his chest. She wasn't scolding him for hesitation or doubt. She understood that humans were not perfect. They stumbled, they worried, they faltered. Yet they tried anyway. That was the part she admired. Over the next few days, John tried to divide his time. He replied to messages from Earth, sharing stories, memories, and small jokes. He laughed aloud at some of her old pranks, remembering the way she had teased him relentlessly. And then he spent time with the petite alien. They walked through the city's marketplaces, tried unusual foods, and shared stories of their worlds. She asked him about human traditions, the oceans, the mountains, and the stars. He explained simply, with care, enjoying her fascination and her gentle humor. The juxtaposition of two connections made him reflect on something important. Humans were remarkable because they could hold multiple threads of care in their hearts. Distance or difference didn't break bonds. It only made the effort to maintain them meaningful. One evening, as they watched glowing lanterns drift above the city, the petite alien spoke quietly. Do you feel torn? John hesitated. Then, yes, I feel guilty. I'm afraid I'm failing, someone important. But at the same time, I feel like I'm discovering something new. And I don't want to lose this chance either. She reached out, holding his hand in hers. Then you are human. You do not abandon what is precious even when it is complicated. That is why your kind thrives in the universe. You keep hope alive, even when circumstances are difficult. John squeezed her hand. The words filled him with pride and comfort. Humans did not give up easily. They kept trying, kept reaching out, even when the path was unclear. And now, he could carry that lesson into both bonds in his life. The next day, he received a reply from his old friend. She asked questions, shared stories of her life, and even mentioned that she had missed him more than she realized. The warmth in her words reminded John why he had tried in the first place. He turned to the petite alien that evening, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the city lights. I replied again, he said softly. She wants to know more. I feel good about reconnecting, but I also feel like I'm starting something here too. It's strange. She nodded. Strange is not bad. Strange is growth. You are learning that your heart can expand to include both past and present. That is very human. John smiled. For the first time in years, he realized that the ache of distance wasn't meant to paralyze him. It was meant to remind him that he could bridge it, that he could reach across the void, whether it was across space, years, or worlds. Later, the petite alien suggested they visit a quiet garden. Bioluminescent plants lined the paths, casting gentle light on their faces. They walked side by side, not speaking much, letting the soft sounds of water and rustling leaves fill the space. John felt a sense of peace he hadn't experienced since reconnecting with his old friend. He realized he didn't have to choose between past and present. He could honor both. He could act with courage. He could maintain hope. That was human. That was what made them special. John, the alien said, breaking the silence, will you give us time? Not to decide everything at once, but to learn about each other slowly. He looked at her, at the sincerity in her eyes, and nodded. Yes, I want that. I want to try, step by step. I don't know where this will go, but I'm willing to find out. Her smile widened. Then we begin the journey together. That night, John sent another message to his old friend, sharing the day's events, laughing at small moments, and telling her he was trying to reconnect with patience and honesty. He didn't hide his life from her. He shared truthfully the way humans always tried to do when bonds mattered. As he put down the device, he turned to the petite alien. I think hope isn't fragile. It survives distance, silence, and uncertainty. It grows when you act, even when you're scared. She nodded. Yes. And you, John, carry hope better than most. That is why I believe in humans. And in you. He looked at her smile, the bond stone in his pocket, the messages on his device. 2 connections, 2 threads of care stretching across worlds and years. And for the first time, he felt confident that humans, resilient, hopeful, and brave, could navigate even the most difficult bonds. The ache of distance was still there, but now it was tempered with courage, with action, and with belief. And as he drifted to sleep that night, John realized that stepping forward, even uncertainly, was enough. It was what humans did best. The alien city glowed beneath them like a sea of stars. John stood on a balcony, gripping the railing, watching the light shimmer over the streets. He felt torn, a tug of war between 2 worlds, one connected to the past, one unfolding in the present. Messages from his old friend blinked softly on his device. She had written long, thoughtful notes asking about his life, sharing stories of her own. Her words were warm, comforting, and familiar, but beside him, the petite alien waited patiently, her silver eyes watching him with calm understanding. She had given him a chance to heal, to try again, and now he had to make sense of it all. He sighed. I don't know if I can do this. he admitted quietly. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to fail again. The petite alien stepped closer, her small hand brushing against his. Then you must choose to act. Humans are strong because you face the pain and still move forward. That is why you thrive in the universe. Her words reminded him of the lesson he had learned in the past days. Hope was not fragile. It survived distance, uncertainty, and fear. Hope required action, even when the outcome was unknown. John turned toward her, taking a deep breath. You're right. I've waited too long before. I won't let fear stop me this time. That day he began by sending a thoughtful message to his old friend. He didn't hide anything. His life, his experiences, and even his doubts. He told her about the alien city, the strange foods, the glowing lights, and the bond stone she had inspired him to carry. I'm learning that distance doesn't have to end a bond, he typed. I want to reconnect with you, but I also want to move forward. I hope we can find our way back to each other. He sent it, his heart pounding. The message carried both honesty and courage, the same traits that humans had always relied upon to overcome challenges. Afterward, he turned to the petite alien. I sent it. Whatever happens, I've acted. That's what I can do. Her silver eyes sparkled. And that is enough. You are human. You try, even when unsure. That is why your kind reaches for the stars. John felt a surge of pride. The alien's words were more than encouragement. They were a mirror of what he had always believed about humans. Even when facing uncertainty, even when emotions were tangled, humans tried. They acted. They reached out. They hoped. Over the next few days, John balanced two connections. He wrote back to his old friend, answering her questions, laughing at memories, and sharing new experiences. With the petite alien, he explored the city, learned about her culture, and shared stories of Earth. It wasn't always easy. Sometimes, he felt guilty for laughing with her when his old friend's messages were waiting. Sometimes he felt nervous about sending another note, afraid it might come across wrong. But he remembered what the petite alien had said. Human strength is in trying, not perfection. He realized that was the key. He didn't have to be perfect. He only had to act honestly and bravely, step by step. One evening, the alien took him to a quiet place outside the city. They climbed a hill that overlooked a wide valley, glowing faintly with bioluminescent plants. The stars above them were brilliant, stretching across the sky in ways Earth's night could never compare. Why do humans reach for things they cannot hold? She asked softly. John thought about it. Because it matters more than just holding it. Trying matters. Reaching matters. That's why we keep hope alive. She nodded. I see it in you. That is why I trust you, John. That is why I believe in this bond. Her trust strengthened him, giving him courage he hadn't realized he possessed. Humans were not invincible. They stumbled, they failed, they worried. But they also tried again and again, and that was what made them remarkable. That night, John wrote to his old friend one final time before sleeping. He told her about the hill, the stars, the alien girl, and the bondstone. He told her he didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he wanted both of them in his life, one from his past, one in the present. He paused before sending it. Doubt crept in again. What if she didn't understand? What if she thought he was divided, careless? Then he remembered something very human. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action despite fear. He pressed send. The next morning, the petite alien greeted him with a smile. Did you act? She asked. John nodded. Yes, I did. My best. And even if it's messy, at least I tried. That is what humans do. She laughed softly. Yes, you are extraordinary in that way. You carry hope and courage like a shield, even when the path is uncertain. John smiled. He didn't feel extraordinary. He felt human, resilient, hopeful, and willing to keep reaching across distance and time. Later that day, the response came from his old friend. She had read his message, laughed at some parts, and reflected on others. She expressed happiness at hearing from him and shared her own struggles with missing him. John felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years. Distance had not broken the bond. The threads were still there, and they were strong. The petite alien watched him silently, her hand brushing his as he read. He realized something important. The human spirit was not limited to one connection. Humans were capable of carrying hope for multiple bonds, nurturing each with care and honesty. And that was why humans thrived, even in the vast unknown of the universe. That night, as John looked at the stars, he held the bond stone tightly. He thought about his old friend, about the alien girl beside him, and about the power of trying, of hope, of persistence, even when distance made him ache, even when uncertainty clouded his mind. He knew that humans did not give up. Humans reached. Humans acted. Humans hoped. And in that hope, John found peace. He had taken steps to reconnect with the past while embracing the present. The threads of both bonds were growing stronger. And as he drifted to sleep, the petite alien smiled, whispering softly, "You carry hope in your heart. That is why you are human." John closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of two connections stretching across worlds and years. Hope, courage, and resilience, the very essence of humanity, kept him moving forward.